Yeah, honestly, I've been working really hard to get back to full health, and I feel like probably over these last couple of weeks is when I've probably started feeling my best.
The moment WNBA fans have been anticipating has finally arrived. And believe me, what's unfolding inside the Indiana Fever facility right now is bigger than anything the league has witnessed in years. Caitlin Clark has reunited with Sophie Cunningham, Lexie Hull, and the rest of her teammates, and the energy in that gym is undeniable. But here's what the mainstream media isn't telling you. Beneath the smiling reunion photos, the laughing Instagram clips, and the polished PR moments the front office is putting out, something far more serious is taking place. And if you truly understand basketball and have been paying attention, you already know where this is going. Because what we're seeing publicly is not the same reality unfolding behind closed doors. We're about to connect every dot, because this reunion isn't as simple as it looks. And the Indiana Fever camp has shifted into something no one expected. Something that could completely alter the direction of this franchise, and something that has certain people within the organization on edge. When Caitlin Clark walked back into the facility, the cameras captured all the right moments: hugs, smiles, fist bumps, the kind of imagery meant to convince everyone that this team is united and thriving. Sophie Cunningham was right there next to her, the same player who built her reputation last season as Caitlin's on-court protector, the enforcer willing to step up when things got physical. Lexie Hull was there as well, the reliable shooter who quietly became one of Caitlin's most trusted teammates, the kind of glue player every contender needs. On the surface, everything appeared perfect, but look closer, and the body language tells a different story than the captions. There's tension in that gym, tension that's been building for months, and it's not coming from the players. The players are focused, they're locked in, they understand exactly what's on the line. The real issue is coming from above, from an organization that, over the past 18 months, has repeatedly shown it doesn't fully understand how to handle the most valuable asset in women's basketball history. Consider where things stand right now. Caitlin Clark isn't just an athlete anymore. She's a cultural force, a ratings driver, a ticket-selling phenomenon who has reshaped the economics of the league. When she plays, arenas fill instantly. When she doesn't, viewership drops significantly. Advertisers pay top dollar to be part of her games. Merchandise sells out the moment her name is attached. And yet, despite all of that, the Indiana Fever continue operating like they're managing an average roster from years ago. The decisions being made, the roster moves, the coaching philosophies suggest a front office that still doesn't fully grasp what they have, and the players see it. That's critical to understand. Everyone in that locker room, from veterans to young talent, recognizes what's happening, and there's frustration because they all know what's at stake. Take Sophie Cunningham. Her reunion with Caitlin isn't just a feel-good storyline. She had real options this offseason, multiple teams offering more money, bigger roles, and chances to be central pieces in rebuilds. But she chose Indiana. Why? Because she believes in this core. Because of her chemistry and connection with Caitlin. Because she sees the potential this team has. But here's the key. Sophie didn't come back to lose. She didn't return to play in an outdated system or watch the same mistakes repeat. She came back expecting the organization to finally take things seriously. Now the question is whether the front office will meet that expectation or waste another opportunity. Then there's Lexie Hull, arguably one of the most underrated players on the roster. She's exactly what championship teams need, a two-way wing who can shoot, defend multiple positions, and accept her role without complaint. Her chemistry with Caitlin is real, built through countless hours of work behind the scenes. When Caitlin returned, Lexie was among the first to welcome her, and their interaction showed genuine connection. But even Lexie, despite her team-first mindset, has shown subtle signs of concern. Through her social media activity, the content she engages with, and her tone in interviews, there are hints that she isn't fully confident in the organization's direction. She believes in her teammates, but she's becoming more skeptical of leadership. Now let's talk strategy, because this is where things really stand out. On paper, this is one of the most talented rosters in the league. You have Caitlin Clark, a generational offensive guard, Aaliyah Boston anchoring the front court, Sophie Cunningham bringing toughness and shooting, Lexie Hull providing elite role player value, Kelsey Mitchell offering scoring firepower, and a group of young players ready to emerge. This team should be competing for a title, no excuses, yet the offensive system looks outdated. There's a little modern ball movement, limited off-ball action to free shooters, and predictable rotations that defenses can easily read. With a player like Caitlin Clark, the system should revolve around her ability to stretch defenses, create opportunities, and elevate everyone around her. Instead, she's being forced into a system that limits those strengths, putting too much pressure on individual play rather than creating natural advantages. That's a failure across the board: coaching, front office, and overall leadership. And the players know it. That's why there's been so much talk about internal meetings, private discussions, and even player-led film sessions without coaches present. When leadership doesn't provide answers, players start finding their own. Now here's where things get even more revealing. When you look deeper into the mindset of those running the franchise, a clearer picture starts to form. And it's not a good one. There appears to be a group within the organization that isn't entirely comfortable with the level of attention Caitlin Clark has brought. This isn't just speculation. It's something insiders have hinted at repeatedly. Some of these executives built their careers in a time when the Fever operated without much scrutiny. Back then, there was less pressure, less attention, and fewer eyes on every decision. Now, everything is under a microscope. Every move is analyzed instantly. Every mistake is magnified, and every success is credited more to the players than the front office. And not everyone is comfortable with that shift. Some don't like losing control of the narrative. Some don't like being held accountable. And some don't like that a young star from Iowa now holds more influence over the franchise's future than they do. That underlying tension, whether intentional or not, starts to shape decisions. It affects roster choices, signings, trades, and even who gets prioritized moving forward. This kind of internal toxicity slowly eats away at an organization, and the only real solution is a complete reset at the top. The tension among fans has been building for months, and now it's reaching a breaking point. On one side, you have the vast majority of Fever supporters, the wave of new fans drawn in by Caitlin Clark, people who are watching every game, buying tickets, and demanding the franchise treat this moment with the importance it deserves. On the other side, there's a smaller but loud group of traditional media voices and insiders who've spent the past year downplaying her influence, diminishing her achievements, and defending decisions that have clearly held this team back. These two sides can't coexist much longer. Something is going to give. Either the front office adjusts to the new reality, or the players push for change in ways that will quickly become uncomfortable. Because modern athletes hold more power than ever before, and Caitlin Clark in particular has a level of leverage the WNBA has never seen. If she ever feels the organization isn't committed to winning, she has options that didn't exist for players before her. Overseas leagues would offer massive contracts immediately. Other opportunities would be built entirely around her presence. Her personal brand has grown beyond the league itself, shifting the traditional balance of power between players and franchises. The Fever front office needs to recognize that reality. They're no longer steering the direction. They're along for the ride, with Caitlin Clark in control. And if they keep making the wrong decisions, she has every right to push for change. What's at stake here is enormous. This upcoming season isn't just another year. It's a defining moment. It will determine whether the Indiana Fever become a dominant dynasty or a cautionary example of wasted potential and poor leadership. If the team emerges from camp looking sharp, unified, and strategically improved, they could be unstoppable. Caitlin is entering that critical third season where elite guards typically take a major leap. Aaliyah Boston is in her prime. Sophie and Lexie understand their roles. Kelsey Mitchell brings proven scoring. The foundation is already in place. But if they come out looking disorganized, poorly coached, and directionless like they did at times last season, the fallout will be serious. Trade requests could surface. Free agents may leave. Caitlin's camp could begin quietly exploring ways to change her situation. And the league itself would feel the impact, because so much of its recent growth is tied directly to her presence. This goes beyond basketball. It's about the future of the entire WNBA, whether it steps into mainstream prominence or misses its biggest opportunity yet. And it all depends on whether the Fever can get out of their own way and allow this roster to reach its full potential. The reunion we just saw should mark the start of something special. The chemistry between Caitlin, Sophie, Lexie, and the rest of the team is real. The talent is undeniable. The fan support is at an all-time high. The financial backing is there. There's no valid reason this team shouldn't be competing for a championship within the next couple of seasons. But potential alone doesn't win games. Decisions do. And right now, the decisions being made don't reflect a championship mindset. They reflect an organization clinging to outdated power structures instead of building something new. So what happens next? That's the question everyone is asking. Will the coaching staff finally evolve the offensive system? Will the front office make bold moves to elevate the roster? Will Caitlin continue backing the organization publicly or start using her influence to force necessary changes? And will Sophie and Lexie keep the locker room steady through what could become a turbulent season? These are the storylines that will shape the next 6 months of WNBA coverage, and you're hearing it here first. Now, I want your perspective, because you're the ones who truly understand the game, not the mainstream outlets that ignored these issues for so long. Do you think the Fever can rise to the moment, or will they waste this rare opportunity? Do you see Caitlin staying loyal, or eventually forcing her way into a better situation? What roster move should happen before the season begins, and which coaching decision has frustrated you the most? Drop your thoughts below. I read them all, and the discussions here are sharper than anything you'll hear on mainstream sports TV. If you found this breakdown valuable, subscribe, because we're only getting started. There are more layers to this story, including behind-the-scenes decisions that haven't been fully exposed yet. The truth about what's happening inside this franchise is going to come out, and I'll make sure you hear it first. That reunion may have looked calm on the surface, but don't be fooled. The Indiana Fever camp has turned intense, and what happens in the coming weeks could shape the future of the entire league. Stay tuned. This story is just getting started.